Hello there, morons. Welcome to another laundry video. If you are new to the channel, if you don't know, a laundry video is a video in which I will talk on and on like a podcast, often meandering off track. Follow my wrecked railroad track of a brain as I tell you what I want to say, get something off my chest. Today, I usually drink alcohol when I'm doing these, but I've been on the wagon a bit, been taking it easy. Been very healthy recently. I've got to do an update on that. I've been exercising a lot, eating well, drinking very little. But anyway, so I've warned you. I'm going to ramble on and on. Despite the warning, some of you will still feel compelled to comment in the comment section. Leave a comment that I go off track too often. Well, I never understand people like you. But whatever, I get such stupid comments. I just blocked someone who wrote a comment who said, you know, I didn't watch this video, but I'm going to assume that you're one of those people who just loves Japan and hates everybody who tells you the truth about Japan. And he didn't even watch the video. So. Well, whatever, I'm getting off track already. Now, as you can see by the title, Me Too is a thing that's been going around a while now. And I want to begin by saying right now that I think no matter what happens to men, pretty much, we, for various reasons, some of them physical, I think some of them psychological, there's nothing that compares to what women have to go through like every day. I understand that. And I'm not trying to lessen that at all by making this video. In fact, I was on Facebook just the other day looking at Paul Renetto. What was his name? Paul. What's his real name? I forgot his name. Well, anyway, Renetto on YouTube used to be the king of YouTube. He's gone through quite a bit recently. I think he's divorced now, but he's looking good. He looks happy. He's doing yoga, and he's a little tiny bit older than me, I think. He's got a big old gray beard. Anyway, it looks like things are going well for him. But again, getting off the point, he's on his page on Facebook. I noticed a comment by a woman that he, I guess, reshared about a woman who's a midwife, and she talked about something called an I forgot the word already. Episiotomy. I think that's it. Anyway, an episiotomy is when you are giving birth, assuming you're a woman, or having a big dump. No, just kidding. You're giving birth, and the doctor cuts the perineum, which is the space between the vagina and the anus, to facilitate the birth of the child. Now, it's apparently law that if a woman doesn't want one of these, the doctor can't do it. But there are many cases in which doctors think they're all hotshots. They all think they're smarter than all of us, and they disregard or belittle our requests and desires because they know better, right? But again, apparently it's against the law to give a woman an episiotomy. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But anyway, it's cutting the. I already described it. It's against the law to do that if a woman says no. And I think in 2013, a woman named Kimberly sued her doctor for giving her one, even though she said no, and they have it on video. And I think he cut her like 12 times. And when I was reading about this, I didn't know what an episiotomy is. Oh yeah. I've got this theory, and maybe I mentioned it before on this channel, called pocket of ignorance. So what a pocket of ignorance is when you don't know something that pretty much everyone else knows. And I thought to myself, how could I not know what an episiotomy is? I've never heard of this thing. Maybe it's because I don't have a vagina, though I know some of you in the comments would like to debate that point. But yeah, I've never heard of this. So it's fallen into my pocket of ignorance. It's one of the, everyone has pockets of ignorance. Things that, like pockets, metaphorically speaking, of things that everybody knows but they don't know. And it's often amazing when you find them. You're like, how could I not know that? Or when you discover that. Another person, sometimes you'll meet another person. I mean, you'll meet sometimes you will find a pocket of ignorance in a friend. You're like, how could you not know that? Anyway, now there are willful pockets of ignorance. For example, I did my best to not know who the Kardashians were forever, and I still don't quite. I only know Kim. Is it Kim? The one who's married to Kanye. That's the only person I know. I know there are other members of the family, and I'm not really sure what the relationship was with Jenner. What's her name now? Anyway, it used to be Bruce. Caitlyn. Okay. Anyway, whatever. That's a little bit different though. So let's get back to it. Women. Oh yeah. So I'm reading about this episiotomy scandal. A lot of women likened this to rape, and my initial reaction was, that's not rape. It's just stupidity. I mean, it's doctors who shouldn't be doing shit like this. Oh, by the way, the doctor who got sued, she won the lawsuit, and I think he lost his license and he had to pay some money as well. But anyway, see, I mean, men are never going to have to. You don't have to go through that. We don't have to go through that. And another thing that struck me after this Harvey Weinstein scandal broke was the number of men they're not mansplaining, but they're kind of taking the spotlight away from the women. For example, what was it? Terry Crews saying, now I love Terry Crews. I think he's a funny guy, but him mentioning that he was sexually harassed. Some guy grabbed his dick in front of his own wife at a party or something. And he says he was going to punch him out, but he controlled himself. But you see, even that's different because women don't have that luxury, usually the option of being able to punch someone out. If anything, he held back, right? Which is something that women don't have the luxury of doing. They don't have because usually if they talk about it, their careers are ruined, etc. Apparently, he told a lot of people and nobody cared, and he just decided to let it go. But he had no. The point was he always knew that he could have kicked that guy's ass, right? He said, "I almost kicked that guy's ass." So he was coming from a position of strength, in a way, although he was being sexually harassed. Anyway, it's different. It's different. A woman is never going to be in the position, almost never going to be in the position where she can put up with something and she's just going to take the high road. Because usually she's the victim in every respect. In Terry Crews's case, he could have kicked that guy's ass. So, at least he had that. It must be some sort of comfort. He can turn the other cheek. In a woman's case, she turned the other cheek. He would just pinch it or something. So anyway, women got it tough. And by me talking about this, I don't mean to take away from that. But I wanted to point out something that happened to me over about 20 years ago that's always bothered me. And I don't. This video is not made for sympathy or anything. It happened 20 years ago. I'm quite over it. In fact, my wife told me not to make this video because someone's going to believe it. It was before I met her. Anyway, so let me just reiterate one more time that women being a woman in this world is much harder, I think, than being a man. No one's going to take a pair of scissors on my butt. Hopefully. So what happened? What am I talking about? Okay. So many years ago when I worked at before I owned my own school, I worked at a big school. And I was a very popular teacher. My classes were often sold out for months ahead of time. And, not very important. But and I would teach a lot of different levels, but mostly I was really good with the advanced levels. And when I talk about advanced, I'm talking about people who are teachers or that level, incredibly fluent people. And one of those often they're teachers, at other schools. So one of these students entered my class. And her English was amazing. She had a near perfect TOEIC score. and she taught at a translation school. And to be honest, I was pretty intimidated by her because, her English was amazing, you know. So she was in my class, and but she never caused problems. I mean, I've taught teachers before, and they're intimidating because they know their grammar and shit. And if you make one little mistake, you know, they're on top of it. They notice it, but she was fine. She was great. In fact, she's a great student, and she's also like I think she was also a physical. I think she worked at a gym part-time teaching some classes. I'm not sure what. Maybe aerobics or something. So she was in great shape, and she had great English skills. And she was rather quiet in class, even though she knew like pretty much everything. And I got over my intimidation, or being intimidated, because she was just, she was very pleasant in class. But there was nothing else. There's nothing. How do I say it? She was plain. That's a nice way to put it. She was plain. I don't mean to be insulting with that. I mean, there was just she was not flashy. She didn't wear a lot of makeup. She was not especially how else can I put it? She was plain. She was a plain girl. She didn't wear her hair in a very fashionable way. She wasn't especially fashionable. I think she wore like mostly slacks. And I think she was a little older than me, and this is 20 years ago. Yeah. And she was good friends with pretty much everyone in the class, and very respected. She could answer many questions. Her English was amazing. Anyway, so it was summer vacation. Well, the school had a summer break, and I used to be even more of a workaholic back then. And one day, I was just in my classroom preparing, and she came in, even though we were technically, there was no class. Although the school was open, but there was no classes. And I don't remember, a lot of, this is a long time ago, I don't remember the details very much, but she came in and I was preparing. I was just making material, whatever. And I don't remember, it was 20 years ago. Anyway, she came in and I said, well, she came all the way down to the school. So I said, well, you're free to sit if you want, and you can study, and if you want, I'll answer any questions while I prepare my material. I think I was cutting out some pieces of paper. I don't remember. So we were just chatting or whatever, and again, I don't remember the details, but she came on to me. She came on to me, and I was pretty shocked by the whole thing, mostly because I'd never ever seen it coming. Like, I just didn't imagine she was going to do this. She was so serious all the time, and so diligent student, yeah. I just never saw it. There was nothing that would have indicated that she would be in my arms, which is basically what happened. And she was like on me. And nobody was coming up to the classroom. The classroom was empty. It was just me and her. And it was so weird. And and I was single. She was married. I assume she still is. I don't know. She doesn't die or anything in this story, by the way. I think. I don't know, but I think she's still alive. So she basically, I don't remember all the details, but and I guess they're not important. What happens later is important. But she basically confessed that she had been, in love with me for all this time, and she called me like my precious, like almost like my precious, and again, I was so shocked I didn't know how to react. And I wasn't attracted to her at all. And I'm not going to pull the moral, I'm not going to pretend I was like being a good guy because she's married and I'm never. No, it wasn't anything like that. It was just like I was just shocked. I mean, the reason I didn't do anything was I was just shocked that she was interested in me, and you know, and I wasn't attracted to her, so nothing happened. But anyway, she told me like, and I can't believe all this came out, but she told me that that she, I said, well, you're married or whatever, because I don't want to tell her, well, I'm just not attracted to you, which was the truth. I just said, well, you're married, so shucks, that's too bad, right, kind of thing. And she told me that, yeah, and she knows, and she really can't do this again. And long story short, she told me that she had had an affair with a foreigner many, many years ago. And this woman was like just, I remember now, she spoke a bunch of other languages, including English and Japanese, of course, and I think French and maybe German. But anyway, she'd had an affair with a foreigner when she was living in Europe with her husband. And anyway, her husband had found out, and her husband told his parents, and then they had like a family meeting with her in-laws, her husband and his parents and her. And she was basically, like, I don't even know what happened, but she was punished. But her punishment was basically, you're going to stay married. You're not going to dare divorce him. So she did. And it was so weird because she told me all these details about her lover, and he was younger, and her body was so sensitive that, I'm going to tell you a really weird thing. And if she watches this video, she's going to know that it is her I'm talking about, but I doubt she watches my videos. But she told me that when he touched her nipples, they bled. They were so sensitive I guess he kissed them too much. I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing, that's not anything you want to tell a guy if you're trying to seduce him. So she told me she can't have an affair again, and she doesn't know what to do because she's, has these feelings for me. And if her husband finds out, she's going to be, it's going to be a big problem this time. And those were the days when I rode a motorcycle. So no big deal. So anyway, we I don't know what happened exactly, but we parted ways that day, and then I went off to live my life the same day, right? I went off to a bar or something. I remember I used to be in the bar business. I don't remember if I was a bar owner back then. I do remember that I went off to have my fun, whatever, go out, and then went home. I went home alone, or was on my way home or something, and I got a phone call from her telling me she had just missed her bus or train or whatever. She couldn't, and she lived outside of the city, so she couldn't get home, and could she stay with me? And I, looking back, 2020, hindsight is 2020 and all that crap, I should have known. So I said stupidly, yeah, because I thought it was very clear that nothing was going to happen, because she had already decided that. Well, we had decided, because she couldn't be caught, doing this again. Yeah, so my I don't remember the story exactly, but my impression was that she was browbeaten by her in-laws in a room, and they said, we're very disappointed with you, but you're not gonna divorce our son. And of course he didn't trust her anymore, but she was stuck in this marriage, and I'm assuming, I don't know what the sexual relationship with her husband was then, but I don't know, I don't care. But long story short, back up or fast forward to that evening, So she came over. I had another futon. I gave her another futon. I put it on the other side of the couch and make it very clear, you know. And I let her, you know, stay. And that was a big mistake. Yeah, big mistake. So in the middle of the night, I wake up and she's on top of me, you know, attacking me. And I had to really get angry and say, you know, get the fuck off me, whatever. I don't remember, but I made it very clear, and you know, nothing happened. You know, she got some kisses in and stuff, and I might have even returned some out of politeness, you know. There's a great line in the Unbreakable Kimmy Smith, with the interviewer on TV says something like, "It's always amazing to me what women will do to be polite, to not hurt someone, to not be impolite or something, to not be rude." So I didn't want to be rude, so I may have kissed her back. I don't know. And I'm not like Daniel. If you don't know who he is, he's the guy I talked about in the last video, who can just have sex with somebody just because they're there. So, and this was 20 years ago too. So I guess I was about his age back then. Anyway, she went home. Eventually, I don't remember the details. This is what I do remember. School starts up again the next week or whatever. And the way my school was set up is that we have a main teacher's room where everybody has a desk, and there's like, I don't know how many desks, and you know, staff and all that. There's a huge room. There's like, let me see, maybe 16 desks. But when you walk into the teacher's room, on the very right is a kind of small meeting room with a very low table and 2 couches where people have meetings, small meetings. And only the boss had their own cubicle, and they were in the corner. Japanese offices usually don't have cubicles. Excuse me. So when I walk in, I walk by that room, and my attacker is in that room with 2 of the staff of the school, and they're talking. And I know something's like wrong. The door was just cracked open, but I look in there, and I'm like, oh, you know, it's you again. And she's talking to 2 of the staff. And I guess we hadn't talked since the incident. And one of the staff walks up to the door and then closes it right in my face. And I think to myself, oh my God, I'm getting fucked right now. You know, like that woman's in there saying something. And this is not good for me. She leaves. I don't know how long it took, but she leaves. Maybe I wouldn't do my classes. They come later. We have another little meeting with just me and the staff. And they tell me that she accused me of sexually harassing her. And one of them said it was like rape. But, you know, I was just like, what? No! That's the opposite. That's not what happened at all. Yeah, and both of the staff spoke very, very good English. So it wasn't like a misunderstanding that I misunderstood something, but it was so bizarre. And of course, she quit. And the worst thing about the whole thing, or the stupidest thing, is that they believed her. And they thought I had done something, and I hadn't. And I think women think other women are beautiful, even if they're not, if they have other really amazing qualities that they think exist, but men don't see. Like, from a man's point of view, she wasn't she was plain. But because she was a teacher and so intelligent and spoke all these languages, they just assumed she was attractive to anybody, I guess. She wasn't unattractive. She wasn't ugly or anything, you know. She was just plain. Anyway, whatever. She was not my type, for sure. So maybe other guys would have liked her, and maybe that's why I was so one reason I was shocked that they didn't believe me. But here's the thing. Like, I didn't get fired. I didn't get punished, even though they believed that I had done this. One of them said, well, I'm very disappointed, in you. And I'm like, I didn't do that. And the other one said, well, you're adults. You're both adults, so none of my business kind of thing. But, if I were such a predator or something, then and did whatever that woman said, I still don't even know what she said, even to this day. Or maybe they told me and I forgot, but I was just so angry that anyone would believe that. When you're well, I don't know if you know, but if you've ever been accused, wrongly accused, it's just such an infuriating feeling. And, you hear about these guys who were in jail for 26 years and they were accused of rape or murder, and it comes out later that the DNA exonerates them. I can't imagine what those people go through, man. Or even people who've been executed, right? I mean, you hear about it all the time. If you watch the John Oliver, they had some recent news about that, how like a third of the people had been executed, where they were exonerated post-death. After the sentence had been carried out. Post-death? That doesn't make sense. Anyway. So, that's my story. I still don't even know why I was being polite by not saying anything. I never would have mentioned it again. I would have pretended it never happened. But for some reason, she decided she needed to get ahead of this thing. And maybe she was scared I was going to say something. So, to make sure that she was in control of the whole situation, she decided to come out with it first and misrepresent the whole incident. The funny thing is, anyway, I got over my anger eventually, but I just decided to let it go. I decided, women, they'll never understand. But yeah, I got accused of that once. And it pretty much sucked. So I got sexually harassed, I guess, but the thing is, I didn't really care. It was annoying to be sexually harassed by this woman. I never felt like she could have she couldn't have done anything really. I mean, she tried and I just pushed her off me. That was it. If I were a woman and a man had tried that, it would be a completely different scenario. Of course, I probably would have felt scared or something, but it was pretty easy to fight this thing. It wasn't the first time that a woman jumped me like that. But, it was the first time that a woman has tried to fuck up my job situation and accuse me of something like this. I mean, I've been, I guess, you could say harassed before. Women have tried doing shit. But, it's, I just say no and push them off, whatever. It's done. But this is the first time someone's ever, come out and accused me of anything, and potentially could have hurt me very badly. I was a teacher, a very pretty respected teacher at that school. Everyone liked me. My classes were sold out. I was the head teacher, right? I was the boss of the other teachers, so it could have really fucked up my shit. And the worst thing about it, like I said, it wasn't the harassment so much that bothered me, but it was the fact that she lied about it and people believed her. Like my staff believed me. And I don't know who else they told, but there was like the whole place. They probably told all the people who worked there. I don't know. Maybe they didn't. Probably they did, I imagine. But and the funny thing is, like, some of them who believed it, or at least one person, they didn't think much of it. Like, so what? Maybe he is that kind of guy, but, well, it was bizarre. Okay, so that's basically my story. Afternote, postscript, yes. Years later, I was at a restaurant with my students from my new school. I branched off and made my own new school. This teacher, this student of mine who attacked me, had gone on to become a teacher at the school where she was my student, believe it or not. And we happened to be in the same restaurant. She was with my ex-coworkers sitting at a table having lunch or whatever. It was lunchtime, yeah. And I was with my my staff and my students at another table. And I I walked by and said hello. Or they said, well anyway, you pass by, you play, say hello. But I remember thinking, God, damn it, nobody knows the truth about this woman. Nobody knows. I never said, she cheated on her husband, and that's why she covered up. It all came back to me for a second. I got angry again, but I didn't do anything about it. So that's my story. Me too, I guess. But again, at the same time, it's nothing compared to what women go through every day. And in the end, I came out unscathed, although a bit unnecessarily embarrassed, or wrongly embarrassed, for a crime I did not commit. Yeah, so I wanted to share that with you guys. You hear about that. You hear about guys getting wrongly accused of things like that, and it does happen. Yeah, and I guess hopefully it won't happen to you, and if it does, hopefully you'll emerge unscathed like I did, with just a slightly hurt ego, I guess, or my pride was, I don't know, whatever was hurt, pride, ego. Yeah, insult. I was just insulted that anyone could believe that. And I guess if it, I guess that's what do we learn from the story? If it happens to you, tell someone immediately, because that's what I didn't do. I just thought, no, I won't tell anybody. I'll be the nice guy, and just forget about it. I should have told somebody right away, so that person couldn't have. Well, she probably would have done the same thing, but at least my story would have been out there before hers. I don't know. Okay, that's all I got to share with you tonight. More videos coming soon. Hopefully, a more upbeat tempo. I do realize that Daniel from, what's his name, Hiding in My Room has apparently made a response video. I have not seen it yet. I did read some of the comments. Some of them were pretty ridiculous, but some of them made a few good points. So I will address those in the future. Another very small point, me blathering on for an hour doesn't mean, it takes less time to make a video like this, because I don't edit at all, than to actually properly edit a video and cut it up and shake, and that takes a lot more time. As you guys know, because of the 2 kids right now, and because I'm just busy as hell, I don't have time to do any real editing now. But I am doing videos on my Japanese for Morons channel. I just put up two more 2 days ago, so please check that out. If you're learning Japanese, studying Japanese, it's a good channel. Japanese for Morons, check it out. And of course, Maggie Sensei. And yeah, and you guys be safe out there. And if you're a guy, no means no, and don't be a dick, and nobody cares if your pee-pee needs relief. All right. Thanks for watching. Talk to you guys soon.